car ever seen, Aidan O'Brien picked up the reins at Ballydoyle and with every passing year has contrived to rewrite the record books. This partnership has become the greatest equine team in the world.
Only a small number of men have become international figures through horse racing. Vincent O'Brien is one of them. He may look like a quiet country doctor, but that shy exterior shields a dynamism that has produced horses to win every big race in Ireland or England, including 3 Cheltenham Gold Cups, 3 Champion Hurdles and 3 Grand Nationals. Every one of the classics, he's won the Epsom Derby 4 times, as well as the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe and the Washington International. O'Brien, the quiet master of Ballydoyle, has in all these years handled some of the greatest racehorses the world has ever known.
I would hate to differentiate between these great horses I've been so fortunate to have. I really would. And as for the moments, I've had great moments, and again I'd hate to say there was one which was the greatest.
Well, you got a little bit blasé about everything because...
Ironic, isn't it, that they both have the surname O'Brien, and a lot of people who don't have that much knowledge of racing obviously assume that there is a relationship there, they're related to each other, but there's absolutely no connection family-wise between Vincent O'Brien and Aidan O'Brien, but they do train from the same place. And I really believed in leprechauns. I remember I'd read all these marvellous stories about Ireland and the leprechauns, and I kept looking for them everywhere. And I remember one of the lads in the yard at Ballydoyle was telling me that they were in the straw and that the horses could see them and we couldn't see them. And I remember being driven down the long driveway to Ballydoyle and meeting Vincent and watching Daddy ride a piece of work. I think it was actually probably Nijinsky at the time. I just remember it being huge and a great atmosphere, you know, real serious atmosphere of sort of triumph, and it was just a lovely introduction to Ireland because it was the first time I ever came here. I remember seeing my father one day going into a horse's box that nobody else could go near. The horse was very, very wild and very hard to get close to. And when my father went into the box, the horse completely changed. He dropped his head and he became very easy, very manageable. And it seemed to be something that my father was able to connect to with a horse. I've seen Vincent O'Brien being able to do that in a very similar way, and also Aidan. And I think that they both have this special gift, without wanting to sound like Dr. Dolittle talking to the animals, but I do believe that they have something that is very rare and unique that very few people have, but horses can pick up on it and they act differently with them than other people. Multiple Irish champion trainer Jim Bolger was Aidan's mentor for 3.5 years. Under his tutelage, Aidan won the Irish champion amateur jockey title.
It was very pleasant when he was here. He was a tremendous worker, always very reliable. He had a mind like a sponge. Everything you told him or he asked about seemed to be absorbed and didn't have to be asked a second time. And generally, I suppose, I'd remember him as a very pleasant young man to work with.
Your Lacto boy is going further in front. Is now 15 up on Celtic Chieftain, Optic Flair and Woodbrook boy.
First winner at Punchestown, yeah. He won a bumper, I think, he fought very easy.
The race, Galacto boy remains over 12, 15 in front.
I think it's great for anybody, a trainer, jockey, lad, work rider, anything, everybody that's involved gets a great kick when a horse wins. Obviously there's a very small distance between winning and losing sometimes, and obviously it's very important that they win.
The winning post coming in plenty of time for Galacto boy to hold off Optic Flair.
It just really depends on the way it falls on the day.
Of course, Aidan was with Jim Bolger and with a few top trainers before he came here. He had natural ability as well. He was able to make use of all the opportunity he got. Yeah.
But it's wandering toss wins of these down close for the placing.
Few, if any, have had a bigger influence on the world of horse racing than John Magner of Coolmore Stud. A son-in-law of Vincent O'Brien, nobody is better placed to offer an insight into the two O'Briens.
I'd say that the common denominator between the two is that they're two very talented people. So I would say it's how similar they are really, rather than how different they are. That's just the way I see it. How he came to my notice was that I just read about all the success he was having. And then Christy Roach mentioned to me one day how good he thought he was.
If he hadn't been going that well, it would have been an easy enough decision, but it was a difficult decision for him to make. But I think he always liked to train a top flat horse, and that was probably the deciding factor.
people said Aidan O'Brien couldn't train a winner in England. How many seasons training you in? 2 seasons, 3 seasons?
It's our fault.
Plus, well, we've been looking at those statistics, we just can't understand it. We think that we can't be any other trainers in Ireland. What's the secret of what's going on out there?
I don't know. Good horse is a good staff, I suppose. And
Don't tell them.
yeah.
Aidan does all the planning, really. He talks to everybody. Occasionally, Michael would come over and run through the horses. There's plenty of dialogue between everybody, but ultimately, Aidan calls the shots.
You have natural ability. You would work as hard as you like. If you weren't able to spot something wrong with the horse, or able to place him properly, or able to do the right things with him, you need a bit of luck, obviously, but I think he has exceptional ability.
Oh yeah, I think he's very special. Like, I know he's training a very high-class thoroughbred, but you gotta know what you're looking at. I think they've assembled a marvellous array of horsemen, each with his own piece to put to the puzzle, and people are allowed to flourish around John Magnon. He's not jealous of that, and I think he motivates people to work and to perform.
You must remember in Ireland that the other trainers that are high up on the table, you see somebody like Dermot Weld, who's won the Melbourne Cup. He's already won an American Classic. You know, he's won a lot of things over a long time. John Ox with Sindal, Jim Bolger next on the list, who actually taught Aidan. Like, Aidan isn't the only one in Ireland that can train a good horse. You know, the standard is very high, and plus there are a whole lot of young people coming on now, and I think the future is very bright as regards talent in Ireland, and we're just lucky to have one of the good ones.
I went to get changed, and she went along with Aidan to the saddling area. One of the horses played up a bit, and Aidan just seemed to calm it down. But I was driving back with Ashley after the races, and she said she couldn't believe that one of these horses just fizzed up, and in 2 seconds it calmed her down. But she was really gobsmacked. She thought she had seen somebody special walk. The horses must feel relaxed around him, and they definitely listen to what he has got to say, and it seems very unusual.
About the way his horses are prepared. Now you can't get out of the car much quicker than that unless the policeman's around. Not sure what he's doing, whether he just wants to make sure his horse is settled. I'd imagine that something's gone through his mind that he just remembered that he wanted to tell Michael Canal. I can't think that there's any other reason.
If he thought for 1 second that he hadn't put everything on the table to me and told me everything that in the pre-race plan, and he wouldn't stand still, you know. And most of the time I ride as Aidan would like it to. Sometimes plan B or plan C has to come into action, and that's what I'm there for.
I suppose you would be a bit anxious before some of the races, but you do your best, and like that's all you can do. Whatever will be.
He does get rather nervous and uptight in big days, but that's part and parcel of the man.
Associated with some of the greatest flat horses in the world, Aidan was for years the guardian of a national icon, the charismatic Istabrack.
John Duffin, Lord Mercia, rang me one night and said that he was after buying him at the sales, and he was going off for treatment, and he asked me would we take care of him for a while until he was hoping that he'd be okay to train him the following season.
When he went to Ballydoyle first, I had 2 novices with Aidan at the time, Finnegan's Hollow and Istabrack, and Aidan kept telling me that Istabrack, you know, he was very pleased with him, that he was going very well with Finnegan's Hollow. And, you know, I was a bit disappointed because I thought so much of Finnegan's Hollow. I didn't think there was a novice that could give me his fill of it. So rather than being elated with the news, I was actually disappointed when I heard it.
Yeah, obviously he is brilliantly bred by saddlers, runs out Betty's Secret, half-brother to us, Derby